there of the student code of conduct being triggered by pure words. Now that does fly in the face of what the actual document says.
Yeah.
But that's, people would have been happier had that kind of been swept under the rug.
Basically, yeah, they wanted her to get through it.
Yes.
And they wanted her to lie a little bit to get through it. And she did not do that in that moment. And that leads me to the question of, is that not what you want in a leader? Someone who refuses to engage in falsehoods, even in the toughest moments, just to wriggle out of a situation? I mean, that's what I think people say they want in leaders.
Well, I think here's I can raise an additional fact that I think is somewhat interesting. Look, I do think the entire hearing was a setup. I think they were looking for the gotcha moment. I don't think it's an accident that they called down 3 presidents who were all brand new. Liz McGill was the longest serving of the 3 at about 17 months. The other 2 were less than a year. That means maybe you don't have quite the backing of your community, your trustees, your alumni.
If you can get them to fall into the trap, as you said, or the setup, then that could trigger a reaction on campus, among the donors, among the board, that leads to their dismissal, which gives you a win.
That's right.
You write in the book that this harrowing saga would further illustrate how the influence of Wall Street had mushroomed since I first arrived there in the 1980s. How did what happened at Penn influence changes on Wall Street and the people and the worldview of the people who run Wall Street?
People in that realm, they have a view that almost everything should be calculated in terms of dollars and cents, in terms of value, in terms of return on investment and things like that. And I think academia doesn't really fit that model that well. And so if you try to force it into something like, sort of why are students studying poetry? What kind of job is that going to get them?
Yeah.
It's funny how one of the misconceptions that clearly arose in this whole thing is that students in general is sort of pretty radical, pretty activist. I mean, frankly, I wish they were a little more politically attuned. I mean, most of them, a vast majority, are very, very focused on getting a job at a place like Wall Street or maybe consulting or someplace that's actually pretty aligned with Wall Street.
When it comes to elite colleges and universities today, do donors and trustees have too much power and influence? And if so, what could be done to change that?
I think schools should look to have more diverse boards of trustees. They may not have as much money. They may not be able to make $1 million or 10 or 100 or $1 billion donation in the course of their lives, but I think the schools need to put a little bit less emphasis on how much money we're bringing in donations, and a little more on how can we govern this place in a way that brings a lot of different perspectives to the table so that we don't kind of overreact to any particular event that comes along.
Surviving Wall Street. I'm Avi Wolf-Merritt, and this has been a Studio 2 Extra. We've released an extended version of this interview on the Studio 2 podcast feed, and we would love it if you subscribed and left a review. Catch the full hour of Studio 2 Monday through Thursday at noon on WHYY.
It is 5:58.
This week on Science Friday, we'll explore the growing world of AI companion chatbots. What do people turn to them for, and what guardrails need to be put in place? Plus the wild history of our least favorite roommates, bedbugs.
I'm not gonna lie, they give me the ick. However, their genetics are really, really interesting.
That's on Science Friday from WNYC Studios.